Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about this whole entire thing with the MCU. And the title is going to be called Refuse to Be Stupid MCU Stance. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because there has been articles talked about how there are people who do visual effects, and they list Marvel Studios as the worst clients to do visual effects from. And it's kind of like, no shit, Sherlock, if you really think about it. Like, why are we surprised that Marvel is on this list? Nobody should be surprised. Look at the past couple of movies. They've been hot messes. They honestly have. You can tell that there's hardly any craft in any of this stuff, and they're just doing this stuff just to be doing it, honestly. And again, I'm not saying that visual effects artists aren't needed or anything, but these studios have gotten so used to using CGI in a way where it's starting to be noticeable. I mean, Taika Waititi just had an interview showing like, oh yeah, the CGI is kind of out of place here, and we could have did better right here with the lighting. And even with the Thor Love and Thunder trailer, everybody was talking about the visual effects. The same thing with She-Hulk as well. Stop trying to justify Marvel. Marvel has a lot of money, but yet you mean tell me they can't put no time and effort into making actual good visual effects, or getting the visual effects artists more time to actually do it? Yeah, because they're all trying to rush. And that's what people are saying now. Now people are seeing how terrible MCU is, which been saying that for a while. That's why it's kind of weird. Like, everybody want to be like, oh, they can do no wrong or whatever. Well, clearly they're doing something wrong. If you can look at the movie and you can tell it's not half-assed done. And that's just the truth. It honestly is. How many more times are y'all going to just accept and consume what Marvel gives you? At some point, you got to put your big boy pants on and be like, look, Marvel, this is unacceptable. Disney, this is unacceptable. Regardless of how you feel about the situation, regardless if you agree or not, come on now. As consumers, we just can't keep just consuming lazy-ass product, because y'all talk about the Arrowverse shows having terrible CGI or whatever, right? But then the MCU is a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and their visual effects and CGI is getting lazier on the levels of the CW, but y'all still trying to defend them. Make it make sense. Y'all always trying to defend Marvel over DC when it's plain and obvious when damn Marvel fucks up. My God, at some point, you gotta stop being dumb and being like, yeah, this is bad. Because if we keep accepting it, all it's gonna do is give them permission to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And what's happening is, you have people now talking about, oh, it's the trolls or whatever that's not liking it. No, it's Marvel themselves, because they keep fucking up. It don't make no logical sense that the visual effects are so terrible to the point where some people are turned off from it. Hell, Thor Love and Plunder has literally been called a parody of itself. Most people don't even know what to do with this movie. Sorry about that. Most people don't know what to do with this movie because it's bad. It is bad. And we're talking about, a lot of people talking about the visual effects were terrible. Hardly. And you can see even the same thing with the, if you really think about it, with the whole Christian Bale thing. How he said, well, I didn't really have enough time to really do the whole get in shape for the role. So we couldn't do the gore how we could have did it. So we just did it this way or whatever. That's lazy, because you could have easily got a visual effects artist who could have made that realistically viable for you. You know? And you could have still had Christian Bale's face features in there So don't give me that nonsense that you couldn't have done that. Yes, you could have. You could have easily done that. But that's what's happening. We are literally living in a economy where they're lazy as hell. And then people want to just consume everything and then tell people like me, when I call them out, that I'm wrong or I'm just hating. No, it's about the principle. It's about the art of the matter. If you're not going to try or put time and effort into it, don't do it. Don't do it. You know? Stop trying to defend Marvel Studios when they fuck up. It's a second, and then it goes all the way. It goes even back to their new diverse characters or the whole stand with the Sam Wilson thing. Notice how they skipped over all of Sam Wilson's iconic storylines just to jump to him being Captain America, because that's way more important than telling Sam's origin story, telling how he became the Falcon. You know? Now, you don't want to do that. You want to jump to his ass being Captain America and then try to force people to like it and then be like, oh, he's Captain America. No, the hell he not. His ass is Falcon and he's better as the Falcon. He don't need to be Captain America. And then you skipped over Bucky's arc too. So you skipped over and disrespected two of your characters just to try to virtue signal to, oh, we have a black Captain America. Okay, if you really want to do a black Captain America, why you just didn't do a movie about Isaiah Bradley that could have took place during World War II when they lost Captain America and they did their version of the Tuskegee Airmen experiment? Oh, that's too much, right? That's too much. But you wanna jump to Sam Wilson, Captain America, but you don't even want to do the first black Captain America. But then you want to try to call the fans racist who called the shit out. Make it make sense. Or, for instance, the whole Moon Knight thing, Shang-Chi, Kamala Khan thing, where you're taking characters who have religions who don't really do the mystical nonsense, and then you try to justify it and be like, oh, we're trying something different with the characters. When you know that's not what they were meant. You know Shang-Chi was a Bruce Lee clone with espionage. You know Moon Knight is a redheaded Jew whose family escaped the Holocaust, so they want to be prosecuted, and because of the abuse that he suffered from one of his clerics in the Catholic Church, created his personality. Now you jump to Egyptian nonsense, even though yes, Khonshu is the god, the Egyptian god, but that's not Mark Spector's stuff until later on. And even then, you hype that stuff up unnecessarily just so you can be like, look, we're doing Egyptian stuff. But you wouldn't even do an original Egyptian character. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you really wanted to tackle that Egyptian lore, because yes, Khonshu does choose a white guy, but again, like, let's listen to Cat Williams thing or whatever, stuff like that. If you guys heard Cat Williams special before, you remember how you always talk about how white people are the ones that like to go and invest and do dumb shit or whatever. Guess what? White people like to, do the Crips, like to investigate, like to look at history, and like to discover a lot of things that sadly people that's not white ain't really trying to do that. There are a few exceptions to the rules, and then don't even get me started with the Kamala Khan thing. Like, you literally took a Muslim character, knowing how religious Muslim is, and then you tried to give her a magic bracelet that goes against her very religion itself. But no, we're being diverse and inclusive. It's weird. It is weird. And we keep justifying it because reasons. Let's stop justifying it and let's just call it out for what it is. This stuff is wrong. This stuff is lazy. It's tiring and it needs to be changed. It really does. It really does. And seeing how not well received Thor is, yeah, it's going to do some money because it's an MCU movie. That's a given. Every MCU movie is going to do some kind of money, regardless. But everybody has to understand that it doesn't mean that it broke even or it's profitable. Y'all have to understand that's not how this works. Because that's why I had said that when I looked at the Batman thing, and I had said, even with the Batman thing, even with the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, yes, they did well with the audience. They did well in the box office. But the studio is going to consider it a failure because it didn't make over the money that they wanted, which means that they get less profit from it. So they make a little bit of money. But you have to remember, you have to, depending on how you have to pay, depending on how much the marketing is, that still can be a net loss for them. Especially when we're in a post-billion-dollar franchise moment for both DC and Marvel. They want movies to make that kind of profit, but it's not feasible. And in order for it to be feasible, we got to demand better, especially from the MCU. You know? I'm sorry. 10 years doesn't justify you can just be lazy and then just skip over things and just half-ass rush everything together and then call it a movie or call it a show and then expect people to be like, yeah, this is great. No, it's not. Obviously, it's doing something wrong because people are not watching this stuff like you claim they are. Or people are watching it and then word of mouth gets to people and then it drops off a cliff. You get what I'm saying? Like, why are we accepting mediocre? And then another thing too, we're taking characters from comic books, right? And we're making them the butt of the jokes, especially the male characters. That is so aggravating to keep seeing characters who are serious characters who are, yeah, they'll have moments, but to make them the butt of the damn joke, to make jokes constantly in the movie or whatever is not funny. Because like I said, if you like Thor Ragnarok, if you like Thor Love and Thunder, then you have to admit that Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are good movies. And a lot of y'all don't even want to admit that, even though they did well back in the past. But because they had too much jokes, y'all like to say, then therefore it made it a bad movie. Okay, cool. Have that same energy for Batman Forever and Batman and Robin for Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Plunder. Like it or not, you can't just idly sit by and constantly consume and expect some people to just be okay with that. Some of us just can't accept mediocre. And as a customer, I do expect better because I know they can do better. And I am justified in reasoning of saying that, of saying this. Stop assuming that we're just supposed to like everything that they make or whatever. And then when you do criticize it, y'all want to try to jump to extremes of racism, homophobia, and all that bullshit just because somebody criticized the movie or the show or whatever. Hell, how about this? Since you comic book movie watchers love it so much, go and buy the fucking books for me. Make DC and Marvel billions in the comic books. Then you can come and say some stuff. Oh, yeah, that's too much for y'all. I ain't spending no money on comic books because that's just not feasible, or it doesn't make any sense, or I don't care about comic books. Okay, then so why the fuck you talking then? Make that make sense. If you don't care about the comic books, the actual books that these films are based on, then don't sit up there and try to tell somebody who is upset when they make changes, or upset that this stuff is lazy, or upset that the characters are out of character then. You can't sit up there and try to tell me that comic books don't matter, but then you want to try to justify it when it's feasible for your argument. Like people want to now try to be like, well, it happened in the comic books with Sam Wilson or Jane Foster. Oh, really? Now you care about the comic books because you didn't care about the comic books when they skipped over storylines or when they race swapped or sexuality swapped the character. Oh, yeah. Oh, right. It's only important when it comes for your message. Refuse to be stupid. That's all I got to say. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.